are so worried the GOP tax cut is getting good press, they're working hard to undermine any positive feelings about the overhaul and prevent them from becoming ingrained with the public. Well, when you look at your 401k, and let's say, for example, the latest example of this, if you work for FedEx, guess what? The company announced 2/3 of its $200 million in increased compensation is going to its hourly workers. They announced wage increases and bonuses all because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Period. Donald Trump signed it, and not a single Democrat voted for it. Just stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Just remember that. Now, we're talking about tax reform right now with James Scholes. He's here from the Show Me Institute, and I appreciate you coming in today.
Hey, it's great to be with you.
Great to see you. Brought your son Tristan with you.
I did.
That's cool.
We're homeschooling Tristan. We just started back in November, and we're talking about school choice today and talking about homeschooling. So I thought, what a great educational opportunity to bring him in to see how the radio works.
Well, I'm glad you brought him in. We had Treasurer Eric Schmidt on here one day talking about this tax reform bill before it became law. And he's the one that drew to my attention this 529 opportunity that was kind of buried within this law. I don't know why they didn't do this years ago.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And basically, we've had this 529 plan. I have one for Tristan and my other kids where you could save for college expenses. You put the money in, it's a tax-free savings that you have, and you could save it for college expenses. Well, now the law change allows you to use those dollars for private education. So if you send your kids to private schools, you can now make that, instead of making the payment directly to your school, put it in the 529 account, get that tax savings, and then use the 529 account to pay for the private school tuition. It's a great savings for families.
Yeah, I'll draw back on my time as a financial advisor. I was licensed and all that. For people that don't understand how that works, for these 529s, you get a deduction for a portion of whatever you put into the education funding program, and then the money that's sitting there grows tax-free. So you don't get taxed when you pull the money out to pay for education on any of the growth. So it's really a great opportunity, and there are some fairly high limits to what you can put into it. Plus, family members can contribute to it for birthday gifts and all that. It can really go a long way toward funding what, Lord knows, by the time Tristan's 18, 19 years old, a four-year college education is going to be $150,000, $200,000, depending on where you go.
Right, and as State Treasurer Eric Schmidt would tell you, you should be saving in these right now for your college expense anyway. But if you have a kid in private schools, this is a great opportunity for you because in the past you were paying tuition. You're still paying the tuition, but now you have a savings that's coming along with it. So if you're in that boat, you should talk to your financial advisor, you should find out more information, and you should really consider making these contributions.
So I know what the initial concerns. I read a couple of letters to the editor about it. People are afraid it's benefiting parochial schools, and this is not a church and state issue. It's your money. All this is a rule that allows you to save it with some tax advantages. But is it available for everyone? Is it available? I mean, if you have homeschool expenses, since you've chosen to homeschool, is it available for those expenses?
So in the initial plan, there was a homeschool provision that fell out of the plan. So it's not covering homeschooling at this time. It might down the road, but we're looking in Missouri right now at a different type of plan that might be available to homeschoolers. So this is National School Choice Week. On the Show Me Institute blog, if you check it out, we have a different post each day about different school choice issues. We're talking about charter schools, private school choice, and we're also talking about education savings accounts. Now that's a different plan from the 529. It's a bill that's in the legislature right now, and what that would do is allow you to get a scholarship account, basically, where if you're homeschooling, you could use that account to pay for textbooks, to pay for testing, to pay for tutoring, therapy, all those sorts of things, or maybe to purchase a course from an online provider. So there are two different types of ideas here. You've got the 529 where you put your own money in, and then the pending legislation in the Missouri legislature that would create ESAs, education savings accounts, in which you receive a scholarship. It's not your own dollars you're putting in, but it's a scholarship provided by other individuals who've made tax-deductible donations.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and so this is a new opportunity that might be coming to Missourians. It's passed out of the Missouri. It's passed out of a hearing in the Missouri Senate. It's going to go to the floor. They're having hearings on the same type of bill in the House, and it's very possible that might be an option for homeschooling families in Missouri in the future.
I don't want to muddy the waters here, but there's a thought lingering in the back of my brain here somewhere in one of the dusty corners that there was some controversy about something like this one time because people are getting a deduction or it's almost like a credit they can buy to make these contributions, and then the money that's in that fund can turn around and be used to pay for maybe homeschooling or parochial schooling. And while it's not directly a state tax dollar that's being used, it's being exchanged for state tax dollars, and in some cases unions and others who are opposed to that have complained about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good for us to keep these two ideas separate. The 529s are one count for personal use where you get this deduction.
Right.
And what we're talking about now, an ESA, an education savings account, is where businesses and individuals would give and get a tax credit. Just as you're saying, I give $1,000, it's like I just paid $1,000 towards my taxes. And one of the controversies around it, where people are complaining, is that if it's 100% credit, like Missouri's plan would be, I get that $1,000 savings automatically. It's like I just paid it on my taxes. And I still get a charitable deduction on my federal taxes. And so some people will complain and say, oh, this profits the businesses, this profits the individuals who give. And I'm kind of like you. I say, if you keep more of your own money, I don't call that profit. Right? You're keeping your own money. You're not getting someone else's money. And through these charitable donations that people are giving, you're now equipping families like mine and like others to send their kids to private schools or to homeschool and to really expand their educational opportunities.
Well, who's sponsoring it? Do you know?
Andrew Koenig is sponsoring a bill in the Senate. I don't know who's sponsoring. There are several bills out there right now, and I think they've got a decent chance.
Good. Well, I mean, the key down there these days is whether and what the Senate's going to do, but hopefully they get the ball rolling early and get some stuff churned out before May.
It could be this year. We've had the same sort of bill proposed over the past few years. It could be that this is the final of the year. It seems like the climate's moving to support educational options for kids.
Well, let's hope they can get that done, because it would certainly benefit a lot of people who. I mean, sometimes I'm stunned when I realize the cost if you're sending your kid to a private high school on top of whatever you're going to have to pay when you send them off to college. Yeah. It's tremendous. This could be a big savings for a lot of people. James Schultz, thanks so much.
Hey, it's great to be with you always.
Thanks for bringing your son to work today.
Well, I'm glad you got to see how things work around here.
See, how about that, Tristan? It's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it?
Like the Wizard of Oz.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. To read more on this issue and others, go to the Show Me Institute. ShowMeInstitute.org is the website. James, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Quick break. 314